everyone, I'm back. Yes, I'm a little worse for the wear. I don't have my lighting set up. I'm not back. I'm not at the place I was when I did my last music reaction video. It's been 8 months, and a lot has happened in my life, and I wish I could say all of it was good, but some of it was good, and all of it I lived through, so that in and of itself is good. I am going to take another stab at doing some music reactions. I had a whole system before, but I don't think I had a loyal viewership that was invested enough in my methodology that it matters what I was doing before anyway. But I'm going to take a new approach now. I am going to react. I'll react to whatever I want to, so that's not going to change. But I did kind of have a regimented thing that I was doing where I was going through number one hits. I was actually most of the way through 1981, I think, listening to all the number one hits of the 1980s. That's a cool project, and it is something that means something personally to me because that was the decade that I discovered music, and when I was mainly growing up and figuring out like what my musical identity was and what my actual identity was. So I don't mind continuing that series, but I was also reacting to new music. I was also reacting to random songs that were dictated by what was the number one song of a particular year, all this kind of stuff. So to some degree, I was listening to music that I wasn't that much invested in. And I think until I can become more expressive with my reactions, I need to actually have some sort of emotional investment in the music that I'm reacting to. So I'm going to start cherry picking songs or videos that have a special meaning for me, or something where I can really dig in and tell you a story or an anecdote around my life related to that. So I'm going to try approaching reaction videos in a different way. Now, where we left off, and I don't remember on my last video if I spoke very much about this, but I was dealing at that time with the fallout from Janet Jackson's unfortunate comments in an interview with The Guardian around the 2024 presidential election. So I've spent part of what I've been going through the past several months is processing my feelings around that. I've been a lifelong fan of Janet's. I was in the middle of reacting to every single one of her songs. I was most of the way through Control, I believe. I mean, not Control, Rhythm Nation, her fourth album, when I stopped making reaction videos. So I thought that given that Janet just received an Icon Award at the American Music Awards, maybe this would be a good time for me to react to something that's both new and old. Obviously, I'm very familiar with Janet's entire catalog, but I have not yet seen her performance on the American Music Awards. I actually just get like the basic packages for streaming. I don't get live TV, so I basically was relying on YouTube to put up the video. Given that this is the American Music Awards and it's Janet Jackson's copyrighted music, there's a very good chance this video won't make it up at all, or it'll be heavily edited. But what I'm going to attempt to do is react to her performance, which I have not seen. I have seen bits and pieces, but I have not seen the full 6-minute clip. So let's get started reacting to that now, and we'll see how it went and what I have to say about it. This is a good performance. As angry as I've been with Janet over the past several months, going on a year now, I still have that baseline sort of adoration for her, and I'm also not going to let my personal feelings interfere or with an objective reaction of of what she's doing. This is great. It's excellent that she's reading the room and she's doing her currently semi-viral song that's been bubbling under and making an appearance in so many social media videos. This is a really good move to do, Someone to Call My Lover. This was somewhat of an overlooked song. It made it to number 3 on the charts, but it kind of went up the charts really quick and went back down again. It kind of was one of those follow-up to a really big song that had the momentum of the prior hit working for it, but didn't really have the legs on its own and kind of fell back down the charts. But the music video for it was wonderful. It was one of my favorite songs off of the All For You album. Like right off the bat, but before it was even released as a single, it was one of my top 2 favorite songs on the album. To me, the way I categorized it at the time is it's sort of like a Lennon and McCartney song. It has one of those kind of melodies and flows that when you hear it, it almost sounds like it's a song you've always known. The melody is sort of that fundamentally sound and excellent to me. Like, this is one of those songs that I've always felt like I had a much higher opinion of than most other people, even other Janet Jackson fans. So it's a great choice for me. I have noticed that, I have read some comments, and I noticed that some people are saying that this performance appears lazy on Janet's part. I will say that it is a little safe, but I will also point out that for Janet, it's revolutionary for her to be performing and appearing so much at ease. She spent so much of her career trying so hard to stick every move and hit every note and be absolutely perfect, live up to that Jackson family name and keep up with her brother and all those things. There was all this pressure all her life. So it's a revolutionary thing in and of itself for Janet to be up there on the stage and to have a relaxed posture and to look like she's having fun. This is like a mission for her. I can tell at this point in her career, she doesn't have anyone to prove anything to. She has enough chops, enough talent, and enough self-assurance to just be on the stage and be comfortably herself without straining her voice or spraining an ankle. She's 59 years old, looks amazing, and she's not there to prove anything to anyone. She's not trying to prove that she can stick any particular move or do anything. This is not the Janet of Rhythm Nation who felt like she needed to take over the world and prove everyone that she was as good as her brother. This is not that person. And that in and of itself is kind of the point. She's comfortable being who she is and being where she is. But she still has a very magnetic stage presence even with that. So that's what I would say about the performance. Let's get back. Talk about Janet's vocals for a minute. She's hitting those notes. She's hitting those high notes, and she's hitting them rather effortlessly. Janet has always been underrated as a singer, and I think it's also another thing that's underrated is how difficult it is to sing the phrasing in Janet Jackson's songs, because she's hitting a lot of different pockets and a lot of different beats inside the song. There's really difficult cadences to navigate from a phonetic standpoint. I was going to say phonation, but I feel like that makes me sound like more of a vocal coach, and I really don't know enough about all that stuff to talk about it. But I've watched a lot of those types of videos, so these words may tumble out of my mouth from time to time, and I may be misusing them. But the way that you have to get through the lyrics of a song and keep your breath control and keep the lyrics flowing and keep them flowing on the beat and hitting the notes and dancing, especially with Someone to Call My Lover. There's a lot of very fast-paced lyrics there, and you'll notice that she skipped over a few of the lines there. I think she just kind of knew in those pockets that if she tried to untangle all of the words in that line, she might fall behind the beat or something. So she has no issue kind of taking a step back and letting a line or two go by, rather than garble it and mess it up. But the one thing you can't say, and I think this is something else that she's going for here, you cannot say that the mic is not on or she's lip syncing. And that's something that people say all the time, but when you see Janet in these performances, you can I mean, it's really easy to tell. Like, for her to be lip syncing, it would take a degree of deception that is so beyond what what anyone would need to do. This is really her singing. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be, if there's a significant amount of viewership and a significant amount of engagement with this video, there's going to be someone arguing with me. Well, of course she's lip syncing. She always lip syncs. Blah 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 blah. It's not true. Like, I saw Janet from the second row in a concert a couple of years ago, and I absolutely guarantee you that she was not lip syncing. So, and I think it's pretty obvious here, and I think that's part of the reason why she's keeping her voice a little imperfect. She's making sure that you know that her mic is on. But I love these ringing high notes in All For You, and I think these are some of the best. This is one of the best songs to showcase her vocals. And it's funny to me because people get caught up in how danceable the song is, but meantime, she's doing these, they're certainly not Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey level vocal runs for sure, but they are very tight and well executed vocal runs that she's doing, and she's doing them, not exactly belty, but she's doing them really. She's really projecting them. She, all these things, all these comments about her whisper singing and all these things. This is when she's in that pocket trying to hit all of her beats because her voice is very percussive sometimes within the songs. But when she has an opportunity to lift up her voice and lift up, I stopped there because I didn't want to end up inadvertently saying lift every voice and sing. But when she's actually pulling her voice up into that range and really letting it go, she can do it, and it's not really an issue for her. She really is a singer of Virginia. In Virginia, for those of you who don't know, that's from the whole Santa Claus thing. Never mind. Let's get back for the last. That was a really good solid performance. I'm not going to say it's the best performance she's ever done, but she's doing a residency in Vegas now. I'm sure this is exactly lifted from the residency. So she's very well practiced in how to do. This is not a number she practiced just for the award show, I guarantee you. But it's very well executed, and it just shows what a professional she is. It is not easy to walk around the stage with that degree of self-assurance and hit your marks and do choreography and sing. Even as easy, like, the thing is, she makes it look so easy that people are going to accuse her of being lazy, but a lot of these other people look at this and they get deceived, and it's a real tell for them when they say, oh, she's not really doing any work, and you get your 20-year-old trolling self off of the couch and onto a stage and try to do anything close to this, and you would be falling all over yourself and not executing anything close to the level of precision that Janet's doing by just doing this, so-called lazy performance. So, I think it's a really good showcase for her. Janet has been doing this for a very long time, and yes, to some degree, she may be on autopilot, but she knows how good she is. She knows what her legacy is, and she knows that people are there to see her do the things that she's always done. So in that sense, why would she do anything else? Like, why would she pull some other trick out of her hat at this point? She's really there to show love to the fans and to recreate some of those moments in her career that were noteworthy and that caused her to get this award in the first place. Now, if she were promoting a new album and came out and did these songs, I would say yes, this probably could have been pushed a little further, and she probably should have done something a little more involved or a little more innovative. But this is where she's accepting an award for lifetime achievement. So why not bask in that, and why not luxuriate in the stuff that you've already done and what people know you for? So, and plus, like I said, she's at the point in her career where it doesn't matter. The fact that she shows up, does her thing, does her stage performance, does it well, and isn't really bothered with what anyone has to say about how she does it. And you can tell that she does. She's at a stage in her career. I mean, you could almost see the anxiety in her face when she was in her 20s, as she was on the stage, pumping through the choreography. You could see that she was, the intensity there where she was really trying to show everyone how good she was because people kept saying she wasn't good. And to see her now, almost 60 years old, and like, you know what? I know I am good. I know I'm a legend. I mean, she does say in her speech, and I did hear the speech that she gave, that she doesn't consider herself an icon. And I say to that, pshaw. Just like at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions, she said, I don't think I'm a good dancer. Yes, there's a little bit of fake modesty going on there, mixed with a little bit of real modesty. I think in a certain sense, you always kind of are thinking like, oh, is this all really happening to me? Like, no matter who you are, you take a step back and it seems very surreal. And I think she's probably looking at it from that perspective when she has these moments of modesty in her speeches. But trust me, she has an awareness of who she is. She has a self-possessed nature at this point that I really, really love for her. Now, I may have my personal differences with her. I am still very unhappy with the things that she said in that interview, and I hope that she works through that in a way which makes her feel good about how she's presenting to the world and just hope that doesn't sully her overall messages or her social messages and social messaging over the years. We'll just see how that goes. I hope that at some point she'll be ready to address what happened last year, and maybe put me more at ease as a fan. But ultimately, that's her business. So I'm not going to require it of her or lose any sleep over it, lose any more sleep over it. I've definitely fretted enough over her not being perfect, which is something I probably should have realized a lot sooner. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of the performance. I would appreciate it if you didn't troll her or me in the comments, but hey, just like Janet, you can say what you want to, even if I'm not pleased about it. So let me know, and it's good to be back. Oh, I forgot my own tagline, make music better, and hopefully I'll be back and make my lighting better so I can make my face look better. See you next time.